back to your impact point. Back in the early days, everybody loves an impact report, right? It seems in this business, and I say that for everyone that we give something to, we've changed their life, right? So I'm not keeping filling out an impact form, because if you don't have a phone and suddenly someone gives you a phone, it's life changing.
Yeah.
For everyone,
Absolutely.
right? And if I say to you, Bonjour, you don't have to worry about your bills for the next 6 months, right? I've got them covered for you, right? So you make as many calls, texts, and even your data is paid for 6 months, right? You don't have to worry about it. That's a nice feeling, isn't it?
Absolutely. I'd feel a huge amount of relief and bit of a burden lifted. Um, and you're already going through something that's difficult enough, right?
Yeah, we did a unbelievable story. So many actually. Uh, we work we work with a council who does a bit further on than we do. So we give the devices and SIMs, and that's the end of our commitment, as it were. But this council does more. So they actually give the devices to the people. They find the need. We supply them with the device and SIM, and they help the people set it up, like you were talking about earlier. So we don't do that, but we do work with some people that do it. And they
Yeah.
just told me recently, actually, of a case where they gave a mobile phone to a lady who's deaf, who never used a mobile phone before. But they gave this phone to her and put an app on it where she could see what was being spoken on the app. 72.
Yeah.
72. And the lady cried.
Yeah. That's amazing.
It's totally changed her life.
Yeah.
Honestly, there are so many stories like that. The other day, I sent 5 SIM cards to a family, right? This was a legitimate immigration case. The family were here legitimately, but their case hadn't been passed. So I think they're here for 2 years, but they can't work and they can't do this and they can't do that. This poor lady, she had no money, no means of working. And you know what she was doing? She was studying, right, to become an interpreter in the NHS. Right now, what a story that is for me.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. And she said, I haven't got any data. And she said, my kids have all settled into the local school, but they don't have any data either, right? So you know what I did? I sent them 5 data SIM cards. One for mum, one for dad, and 3 for the older children, right? She sent me a message back. She said, everybody's doing their studies brilliantly, and we've even got enough data left for the 2 little kids to watch their films. Now, that I'm
Amazing.
like, you know what I mean?
What impact that has had on their life, for their education, for that person's work, and it's something they want to contribute back to the country, right? And to the NHS. What better way?
Yeah, I mean,
So it's really
to be honest, mind you, these stories come every single day. Ironically, just before we came on live here, I got an email from the NHS from a nurse that deals with diabetic kids. She's got 500 diabetic kids. And apparently so many of the families now can't keep in touch with the hospital because they've got no data. Can we help? We've got people
really,
who are dying but have never got a mobile phone to keep in contact with people. Those are the sort of things that we're doing. People don't,
yeah,
the average person doesn't think about that, right? Why should they? Let's be fair, we all want to get in our own little world and enjoy ourselves as much as we can, right? I don't want to be spreading doom and gloom around about the work I do, you know? People don't understand it, and why should they? But it exists.
absolutely. And every day, you're helping them, and it's it could feel like it's such a small thing that the action may be quite simplistic, right? A mobile phone, a SIM card, but through those stories, just those few stories that you shared, um, it could make all the difference for that person that you're supporting, and then their life as well. So it's really really heartening and amazing to hear. And you just do this day in, day out. You must be kind of exhausted from the kind of, I guess, emotional drain. Uh, Plus, I imagine it's the thing that's driving you as well and getting you up in the morning.
Yeah, mind you, you're 100% right. And I think knowing you the little bit that I've got to know you, I feel that the same applies to you. I mean, look, I'm fortunate, right? I'm strictly by age, I'm retired, right? But I'm not interested in retirement. I'm not interested in it. Never have been, to be honest with you. Even when I was working, it never really thrilled me with deep joy that I would one day sit in my back garden and look at the sunshine. Didn't really fill me with any joy. Um, and the fact that this that sort of feeling is self-perpetuating. I think you'll understand what I mean by that. So, I like a challenge. I've got to the place in life where I can't say money's important. That sounds a little bit flip, but I don't need to work for money. I don't need to, right? So I will only ever look. Don't get me wrong. If someone wants to pay me, that's fine. We all need to put soup on the table, right? And I'll make sure that I'm paid my true value. But I don't choose any of my work to do with money. So I only choose my work, and that's whether it's SimPal work or whether it's speaking work or writing work or whatever. I only choose where I'm going to make an impact, right? Cancer has shown me that I don't look long term. So, listen to all this government waffle and whatever's going to happen in 50 years' time, right? I switch right off. I'm not interested in the 10-year health plan of the NHS. Well, they don't have one now, right? But, I'm not interested in any of that. I want to know if I go into a room, I've made someone's life better by, I don't know, hopefully motivating them to do something nice, helping them maybe do something nice. Maybe they hadn't have thought about that. Maybe helping somebody just, in a queue somewhere, giving them a little bit of time or just treating people a little bit better. That's my sort of message. And it is, I'm a great believer in karma. And, I've got so many incredible people around me and that just doesn't happen overnight. That happens from relationship building, where the roots are really down. You have some wonderful relationships in the work that you do, but you didn't have them when you started, did you? I say to people on social media,
Mm,
they'll say, "Oh, everyone knows you," and I say, "Yeah, but I started with no followers like everyone else, right?"
absolutely, yeah, yeah,
It's the oxygen of me wanting to do it. You're right. Get me out of bed in the morning. What's my next email going to bring? Look, there's always some bad news. There's always that. Always. But then I think, actually, but if I didn't do this, I wouldn't have helped those number of people. Do you know what I mean? Their life would have been a bit poorer.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And all the things, all the thing that happened for that person because of why you've helped them, how you've helped them rather, all the kind of ripple effects that happens. It, it could be a huge thing. So I'm just kind of generally speaking here, is a small action or a large action can have huge ripple effects that you may not realize is going to happen. And sometimes that realization doesn't happen for years and years to come. I think I'm the kind of a beneficiary of these ripple effects. People that supported me, a decade ago and 15 years ago, etc. Um, Role models and mentors, and people that don't realize they are being a mentor. or a spark. That's one of the reasons that I set up this podcast when we were chatting, Chris, and one of the reasons that I wanted to speak with you about your amazing story, and so that it can help others as well. Set that spark for change as well.
And